Well, I haven't helped you very much, if any.
Yes, you have.
Yeah, we didn't know where the cemetery was.
Yes.
That was a big help.
Oh, you mean that one up there? Yeah, that was right just at the end of the lane where you win the...
But I'm just wondering if
it.
they took my great-grandfather's body to Loudonville. Is it possible he's buried in Loudonville?
I can check. That's about the only thing. How about names? Have you ever heard of like names like William Spurgeon?
On his,
William what?
on his
Spurgeon.
will, somebody submitted
Is that Jonathan?
$18
Andrew
to
McKee?
move the body
Is
to
that
Loudonville.
Jonathan?
I knew some
Will,
McKees,
or
but
not
I
Joseph?
don't...
Joseph.
Not too much, no.
That's James' brother.
Okay.
Okay, it says right here on Holmes County Deeds, page 212 in Holmes County Courthouse. William DeWitt and wife Sarah of Holmes County to Isaac Manchester of Holmes. $110 gives a description there. In 1831. Record 12, September of 1831. That's something that there's a deed there in Holmes County Courthouse that shows when the Manchesters came.
Well, I'm lost. I remember this Weaver place, but I can't remember the house.
That's where we used to go and Grandma and I'd eat dinner with them.
That's a great big old farmhouse. That big gray one on the left down here. A great big one.
Yeah.
Who lived there? That's an old house there, isn't it?
Right the next house.
Yeah, it's on down over the hill.
That was Walter Rubles.
Rubles. That's a monstrous house. Yeah.
So the question is do you remember the old building that housed the saloon or the blacksmith shop of Johnson?
It was up across the road.
Now where now? Where was that at?
It was in that field over at the corner.
I thought it was on this side of the road.
No.
John?
It was a grocery store over here.
The grocery store was over here.
Yeah, it was still there when we bought the farm.
Was it next? Was it next to the house here?
No, it was on over right on the corner. Is you know where you go around the curve, but it was on this side.
Okay, because the same land that it shows in the 1875 land, the atlas shows that James H. DeWitt owned land right up to their street, and then on back behind it was Joseph's land. That later was all of William Weaver's property.
Yeah.
Springfield.
We bought this off of Grandpa or off of Grandma after Grandpa died.
Grandpa being
Lou Weaver.
Lou Weaver, and then his father was Albert.
His son was, or his.
Okay, your father was Albert Weaver. Then his father was Lou Weaver. His father was Philip Weaver. Okay, got that.
And the blacksmith was on that side of the store.
What, in this field right here?
Yeah, right on the corner.
I thought I read that the grocery was in the same as a blacksmith shop, but I must have read that wrong.
It had a post office and a grocery store and a saloon.
You said post office. Okay.
And it was right, well, the building still stood.
Was it a log structure?
No, it wasn't no log house, was it?
Yeah, where did you see that log structure at? You remember when you came down?
The store wasn't log.
No, I think it was over on this corner.
It was old.
Well, I bet that was the blacksmith shop.
I ain't
See
sure.
here? You see how many buildings is up there? Who's managing? Well, this house.
It just might have been
That house might be here.
some logs in it. Yeah.
I think there's a
I
big
know it
building
was in
over
bad
this.
shape when I arrived.
There was two buildings right here.
Bought the one.
Yeah, that was the blacksmith shop.
That's good up.
Over here was the store, and it still stood there when we moved.
Had your livestock in there. Yeah, I had a barn
Yeah.
right over here.
Really?
Oh, did ya?
Well, he lived there. He
That
had
was
a
part of the
house.
old Jimtown, or
Do you remember any other structures that housed anything?
He was saying that it's part of it. He had an old barn here that was part of old Jimtown too.
Yeah,
And
see
this, some of the still land. Oh, I see that old town, yeah.
That was part of Jimtown?
Yeah.
Well, that would probably show on
Back
the...
here, right? Yeah. set right there.
Right there by your garden?
It came clear up to in here. And all the way down. Of course, this was a shed built on to it.
Okay.
The barn,
Oh, I see, yeah.
There were several buildings in that land atlas. Would probably been the barn too.
I don't think he saw
yeah,
that.
some of that timber, most of it was gone. That's
Wondering,
DET.
Yeah.
See it?
but I don't see Jones.
Ron Davey.
But they wanted me to ask Dad if he knew where the house was, or the road that used to go into the Jones property.
See, there was a Jones Ridge too. It lied under
Here's a
Richland
William
Township too.
Jones.
He's right in here somewhere. Right there, John Jones.
There's the house.
You don't show where the road was, does it?
There's a line there, whether that's a road or not. Well, there's a little line. See that little line? That's a proposed road.
I bet that's the road.
Proposed road or discontinued road. See, this is the same as 514. It showed they was going to build it. It was plotted in 1875. Now, whether they ever put the road in, it's another story.
Yeah, that. She wanted me to ask Dad, and Dad just couldn't remember.
Okay,
Shows
Mrs.
the house.
Baylor? That's how you pronounce your name, isn't it? Baylor?
Baylor.
Okay. Question. Do you remember the old cemetery that was plowed over by a farmer, right? Behind Coy Stevens' place.
There is a cemetery back that road. The middle road here.
Okay. Now, is there any tombstones left?
I think there is.
Is there?
Uh-huh.
But a farmer did
I think that tombstone may have come from there.
Might have.
Is that Hank?
Well, it wasn't.
Huh?
Is that Hank?
I don't
Now,
know.
which road she talking about? Down this way?
You're talking right behind Coy Stevens.
Yeah, that's the middle road there.
You're not talking about the one straight.
Yeah.
Yeah, straight.
Yeah.
Okay.
Middle one.
Now, John Manchester said behind Coy's on this road.
Oh, there
Was
was,
the cemetery
right
plow-
at the end of that lane.
That's what.
Okay.
And I don't believe there's any stone left there.
That's what he said.
So you don't know but what happened to the stones or anything.
No, I don't.
Yeah, they could.
That's probably our missing ancestor.
farmed this.
That's probably what we're missing.
Probably the people
But it was
that
right
farmed
at
that
the end of
farmed
their
under's long
lane.
gone now,
These
aren't
people
they?
buried on their own land.
Yeah.
Remington back over there, a couple of them were buried on the Remington land.
I heard of Remington Cemetery or something.
Well, that's where there was a cemetery, but I don't believe there's.
But there's a cemetery back there too.
Yeah.
That's why I drove back that road.
Couldn't
I looked
find
at
it.
all. I didn't see them. But I
There
didn't
is
really look
stones
close.
back there. Back.
We're gonna go back there and see if there's any names matching in my books. Okay.
Did you look in Germany cemetery?
The schoolhouse used to be right there.
Okay. And we already talked to John Manchester and Mrs. Baylor, and they said something about an old cemetery that used to sit on this hill right here. Is that?
Well,
You remember?
there's a deed on our farm. On our deed, it says there's 1 square rod reserved where so-and-so was buried.
On the farm.
Yeah, they
Okay.
don't say where it is, and I don't know.
Is that right? Now, where farm do you own? What do you own?
Huh?
Where do you own at?
This right here.
Oh, this is all yours. So is that your farmhouse up there?
No, ours is right down there.
Okay, your farmhouse is right down there. Okay. The question is do you know these people up here?
Yeah. Hank Friedrich.
Hank Friedrich.
He said he's living there, but then he's moving out and he sold his farm and there's somebody else moving in.
So he's not up there.
He was there just a little bit ago. I
Okay.
seen a red car go out.
Now, John Manchester said something about an old cemetery south of Jimtown that was plowed under by farmers.
Well, that's probably the one they're talking about here. But it did no.
There was some tombstones, but nobody knows where it
We've
is.
been here for 45 years. and we
45 years. Were you born here?
don't- No.
You weren't born here. Okay. We're just trying to. We got some old history books here, and a lot of records, and I'm just trying.
Who are you working for? Yourself?
Well, I'm just doing it for myself. I'm Kevin DeWitt.
Kevin DeWitt.
Yeah, and this used to be. I got proof in records. It used to be DeWitt Ridge.
Yeah, it was DeWitt's lived up here.
Okay. Do you remember the DeWitts like Robert Stansbury DeWitt and the Banburys and
I knew the Banbury.
was it Donald Banbury? Yeah.
Yeah, he lives here. And he lives over.
He lives where?
You just get down that Township Road there and the first lane into the left.
Okay, so he's your neighbor.
Yeah.
Okay. I talked to some lady that, or one of my cousins that was talking to a Banbury. He went to school with Donald apparently, and I got some information on him. But what primarily I'm doing, I'm just trying to find some information out on to match some of our old pictures and documents that we have, and kind of like a hobby. So
Yeah. Where are you from?
I'm from Perrysville.
Perrysville.
Yeah. And my dad's from Perrysville, and he's would be a descendant of the same DeWitt that was on this ridge here too.
Yeah.
But he's from Springfield, Ohio. So.
Yeah, I think one of Banbury's grandmother was married to a DeWitt at one time, I think.
Robert Stansbury DeWitt.
Yeah.
What's it? Is there